Assalamu alaikum, muggles. Welcome to episode 3 of the spiritual lessons from Harry Potter. All right, let's begin. We are on the Sorcerer's Stone. We are on chapter 6. And what I didn't get to say last time, or I forgot to mention, was how fun chapter 5 is. Chapter 5 is when Harry goes to Diagon Alley to get all his school supplies, and it's the first real kind of, elaborate and descriptive depiction of the wizarding world and the whole world that J.K. Rowling created and all of the nuances and how it works and the different the different magical elements and magical pieces that make Harry Potter as a story so, such a fun read because it's a vivid, detailed world. And in chapter 5, we get our first glimpse of that. And then we continue on in chapter 6, and now Harry is getting on the train to go to Hogwarts. And so I'm going to start right at the beginning of the chapter. Harry first goes back home to the Dursleys for 1 month before school starts, right? So he's had this magical experience, and then he has to go back to live with the Dursleys while he waits for school to start on September 1st. And where's that part? And so now the Dursleys are kind of ignoring him and leaving him alone because they're scared. They're scared he's going to use magic on him. And so instead of being mean and bossing him around and making him, basically be their servant and do stuff for them, they are ignoring him. And so it says, although this was an improvement in many ways, it did become a bit depressing after a while. And the reason why I want to just touch on that is because the opposite of love for human interactions isn't hate. It's indifference. And ignoring someone, leaving them alone, that feeling of that you don't even care, right? Because to hate someone, you have to care. You have emotions like what you did to me, or you have strong feelings about them. But to be indifferent, whatever, I don't care about you. I'm not even talking to you, considering you, thinking about you, acknowledging you, interacting with you, is a far more detrimental feeling. And that's why, neglect is such is a form of abuse. So I just want to touch on that because many people, or at least, it was relatively recently that I understood that the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. And so here now, the Dursleys are ignoring him, and it was okay, it was an improvement, but then it became depressing because it's the most kind of isolating feeling. All right, so then he gets his uncle to take him to King's Cross, where he needs to take the train at platform 9 3/4, and he has no idea how to do that. He's totally confused. His uncle is actually really kind of cheeky about it, okay, here you go. Here's platform 9, here's platform 10. Good luck. And they leave, and they're laughing, good luck to you, Harry. You have no idea what you're doing, what you're getting into, and no way to get onto this platform 9 3/4. Where is it? And that's, of course, when he meets the Weasley family, and Mom Weasley tells him about how to get on the platform. And I want to read that description to you. And what she says is, because he's like, how do I do it? First, he's watching, he's observing the Weasley children go onto the platform, and he's like, I don't see what's happening. They're walking, and then they're there and they're gone. And Mrs. Weasley tells him, all you have to do is walk straight at the barrier between platforms 9 and 10. Don't stop, and don't be scared you'll crash into it. That's very important. Best to do it at a bit of a run if you're nervous. And this little tidbit is, I draw so much more for it. Okay, so I'm rereading this book live now for this series. And I think the last time I reread it was like a couple of years ago. And so my spiritual growth has been like a lot since then. And this stood out to me because for all of the things that we want to achieve or that we want to do, we are going to feel like, I can't see how I'm going to get there, right? You're trying to get to platform 9 3/4, right? And you can see platform 9 and you can see platform 10. I can't see this platform 9 3/4. I can't see how I'm going to get married. I can't see the job that I want to get. I can't see the career that I want to have, the place I want to move to, the friendships that I want to make. I can't see it. And what she says, all you have to do is walk straight at the barrier between platforms 9 and 10. Don't stop and don't be scared. You'll be crashed into it. That's very important. And that's like how we are supposed to navigate as we are trying to walk towards our dreams, right? All you have to do is go straight towards what you want. Don't be scared and don't be afraid that you're going to crash. Just believe that what you want, what you're praying for, what you're asking for, what you're moving towards is going to appear. Like that's like the formula for dua. So how you get on platform 9 3/4 is how you get your dua answered. Like, look at that. Look at that. Magic. Okay. Next. Page 98. Oh, and the other thing about how, just magical the wizarding world is, and like Harry discovering this about himself, is that, now he went back home, he had taken the train home, and there was even a little description, I think at the end of chapter 5, of like how he also just saw the regular world differently, right? Knowing who he was now, knowing that he's a wizard, he's seeing the world differently. And I can tell you from my own personal experience of appreciating, that I am a divine spirit, I am here on purpose, Allah is supporting me, Allah loves me, that the world looked different to me. Like the things that I normally just like, okay, whatever, the grocery store, running errands, going here to this shop and that shop, things appeared different. Everything had like a different texture, a different quality to it when I viewed myself differently, when I saw myself differently. And we get hints of Harry having that same experience of looking around the world, and the regular world, in addition to the magical world, and seeing things differently. Okay, so now here. Now, I put this in my notes. Oh, yes. Okay, so finally, Harry, he's gone through the platform. He's gotten to the platform. He's gotten on the train, and he's sitting in a compartment all by himself. And it says, Harry felt a great leap of excitement. He didn't know what he was going to, but it had to be better than what he was leaving behind. And this line also is, such a common feeling that you're moving forward and you might not have a real clear sense of like what you're going to. You don't really know like what's going to come next. Maybe you're starting a new job, you're starting a new school, you're getting married, you're moving something, and you don't really know what you're going to. But you have this excitement, you have this hope, you have this belief that it's going to be better than what you're leaving behind. And that feeling, like, I've learned to not underestimate that feeling of hope, that feeling of excitement can support you in, again, seeing things in a positive way, because you're like, okay, this has got to be better. So you're going to look for ways that it's better. And that's a psychological, scientific proven thing now, that like how you view things and what you focus on grows. So if you focus on the good and the excitement and like the possibilities, you're going to see more of that. And if you focus on the negative and the bad, you're going to see more of that. So in this line, we're seeing Harry like, okay, this has got to be better than what I'm leaving behind. Like with the Dursleys, that was miserable. And, he's having this hope for the future. Okay. And then he's on the train car by himself, and Ron comes in. And this is his first time meeting Ron. You know, they are first a little bit awkward, and then they begin to talk. And then Harry's asking him, like, oh, you know, you're from a whole family of wizards. That must be awesome. And you have siblings. Like, what is that like? And Ron says that he is, here it is, right? Ron, for some reason, he was looking gloomy. I'm the sixth in our family to go to Hogwarts. You could say I've got a lot to live up to. Bill and Charlie have already left. Bill was head boy and Charlie was the captain of Quidditch. Now Percy's prefect. Fred and George mess around a lot, but they still get really good marks and everyone thinks they're really funny. Everyone expects me to do as well as the others, but if I do, it's no big deal because they did it first. You never get anything new either. With 5 brothers, I've got Bill's old robes, Charlie's old wand, and Percy's old rat. And this description, or this sentiment that Ron is sharing, again, I can just like connect with it so much because, you know, that feeling of like you're being stuck. Ron, like, you know, wants to achieve and live up to the expectations of his family that, you know, I'm a wizard now, I'm going to Hogwarts, but he knows no matter what he achieves or how good he does, his siblings have already done it before. So it's going to be like, yeah, of course you should, because we expect that from your family. And then if he fails and he doesn't do as good as them, they're going to be like, well, what's going on? Like, we expected more from you, given your family. So he feels like he's in this no-win place, right? Like, even if I do good, it's not a big deal. But if I do bad, people are going to look at me funny. And in no place does he feel like he's going to get like his own props, his own recognition. And many of us probably can relate to feeling like, okay, you know, I'm trying, I'm striving, but like, what's the point? Where am I gonna, you know, what am I doing it for? And will I really, you know, be valued and recognized on my own? All right, next is Harry is talking to Ron, and he mentions, Lord Voldemort's name, right? He says his name, and Ron is like surprised. He's like, oh my God, you can say his name, right? He's both shocked and impressed. And Harry's like, oh, you know, I'm not trying to be brave. I just never knew that you shouldn't. And that point is powerful because Harry's not afraid of saying the name because it's unfamiliar. It's new. He just learned about this guy. This is his name. He's saying his name. He doesn't know it's taboo. There's all this fear. But here you have Ron, who is afraid to say his name. And Ron is the same age as Harry. So he grew up when Lord Voldemort was already, you know, out of power. He wasn't running around scaring people. But Ron has learned to fear the name, to fear the figure, and so he is afraid to say it. So this is just a good illustration of how fear is learned. We're taught to be afraid, right? If Ron's family hadn't talked about it in a certain way, or had told different stories, or had been around and exposed to different things, he would not be afraid to say Lord Voldemort's name, just like Harry is not, because Harry never learned those things. So the fears that we have, many of them, most of them, are learned. Okay, and that is chapter 6. I didn't have a chance to read chapter 7, so we're just doing chapter 6 today. And tomorrow will be the next chapter. We'll see if I read more than one. And I'm so excited. I've gotten so many different comments and reflections and notes about how you guys are enjoying this series. Please leave your comments below if you have other thoughts, if you have other questions, if there's some passage that meant something to you that I, you know, didn't bring up or didn't go over. I'd love to hear it. You know, I'm kind of really just sticking to like pulling out the spiritual lessons and not just like gushing about how great the story is. But obviously I really love the books. And what else did I want to say about that? Yeah, leave your comments, leave your thoughts. We'll get into the chapter 7 next time. Oh, share it. Share it with your friends. If there's a lesson that, if you have a Harry Potter fan that share this with them, or if just the lesson resonates with you, share it. Spread the word. It's so much easier for us to learn and understand and appreciate things when we hear them through stories, which is, again, like I already said in the intro, why the Quran is mostly stories, because it is a powerful mechanism for us to learn as humans. Like, that's how Allah created us. And so, this story, any novel, any real life story, any news story, like, there is lessons and learnings and wisdoms and insights that you can gain from all of them. We just happen to be going through Harry Potter because I love it. All right. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. See you next time.